Hello, everybody. Good morning. We are here in April 12th, mid-April. Beautiful day up here in Chicago. I know it's down, sounds like it is down in the Texas area too, with Ellie's at. And we'll be starting here very shortly. Letting some more attendees join, as always. And we'll be starting in about 1 minute. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Box Monthly Market Update. Today we're going to talk about the markets and the update, but also talk a little bit of Energy Sales 101, some of the processes, procedures, and best practices to use out there in the field. I'm very excited to do that. Allie will be doing that call. So with me today, here's myself. It's Scott Ebeling. I'm Director of Pricing and Strategic Solutions here at Box. And with me today is Allison Coldewey, our Senior Pricing Analyst.
Good morning.
Yeah, hello. Is it nice weather down there today, Allie?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's like 65 and sunny.
Yeah, it's up mid-70s here today, second day in a row. Got my tables and chairs outside now, and we ate outside first time of the year yesterday. So we're having Texas-like weather here. So moving on, we're going to talk today about Box a little bit. That's just a real quick briefing, just for newbies on the call here today. We're going to do a little market update, a little shorter than usual, just because we want to talk a little bit more about this Energy Sales 101 and some best practices out there and process procedures. So I'm going to Allie take it away here and talk about Box. Go ahead, Allie.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. And thank you, everybody, for making some time in your morning to join us today. Super excited about this one. And these webinars are always really fun. Just a little bit for everybody who doesn't know Box, or if you are not yet a Box broker, if you have no idea who we are. Box, or Broker Online Exchange, is a master energy broker. We are licensed in all deregulated states. We have partnerships with every major energy supplier, and we are here to help you better serve your customers with more markets, more products, and more supplier options. Here up on the screen, we have our deregulated map here. So in green, you'll see where we have natural gas options available for natural gas only. And then for blue, we've got both natural gas and electricity options available. And then we've also got our shaded territories here that are really gray with some lines through them. Those are territories with limited availability. Usually that refers to large commercial and industrial natural gas users, looking at manufacturing, looking at really larger customers there. But we do have some availability there, so we want to make sure that you guys are aware if you do have customers in any of these states, if those customers are looking for solutions for their energy costs or help managing all of their costs. I know a bunch are after the year that we had last year. Feel free to give us a call. We can definitely help. Our next slide, you'll see some of our brands from our supplier partners. We love our supplier partners, and Box, because of the brokers that we represent, has great relationships with each of these. As our executive management, it has mostly all been on both the supplier side and the broker side for a very long time. So we bring industry expertise and that level of C-level relationships to each of these brands. You'll see your Direct Energy, Energy Harbor, bigger brands up there. We also have a good mix of smaller brands that bring regional market expertise, who we go to for help with some of those trickier customers. So if you see names on this list who you would like to work with but don't, these are people we're talking to every day. Feel free to give us a call. We're happy to reach out to them. And with that, that's our Box overview. So I will pass it back to Scott for our market update.
Thank you, Allie. And just one more thing to add to that, and we should try to put the slide here, just what our kind of strategic solutions are, and all the services we offer. And what we like to say is what we can make a shop of one look like and feel, and the services of a shop of 20. We have full service capabilities that we can bring to you and make yourself as a broker. You can offer everything out there with every supplier out there, that's what our value offering is to you. So with that, let me just take you into market update here before I go back to Allie. And real quickly here's first of all, here's the calendar strip prices for around the clock power right now. And you can see we're still, $3.52 for 2024 gas. That's next year. All these are next year's power. 2023 and remainder of 2023 is lower than all this for the most part because we're already through the winter. But we see here 2025, 2026, we're still out there. And here's the price changes that we have thus far in the past month. And even though gas prices have come off, power prices are remaining relatively sticky outside of North Hub, ERCOT, and really many factors are involved in that. Heat rates have gone up, and we've seen a little bit in the LMPs as well, based off of where the heat rates have been coming in at. The heat rate is the price of gas, the price of power divided by the price of gas. And secondly, just some regulatory stuff, transmission stuff, just kind of seeing some basic fundamentals in physics away, to put it bluntly. You see your natural gas storage, and this would be probably the last month we'll put the Freeport part on here, but if you want to follow this, the gray dots up there, that's the 5-year average. This is from from about mid-June when Freeport went offline. That's why I want to show you this chart here today. The green line is the 5-year minimum of where this range has been in the 5-year minimum over this time period. Now, the black line is the actual. That's where we actually are, and you can see we are above that 5-year average significantly. We're actually around 1,800, very healthy level we've had, which, basically we've had a great winter. I mean, it's an unbelievable winter, almost perfect for gas. But you can see there in the blue dot and the black dot, back in the beginning of this chart, they're at the same level because that's when Freeport went offline. And this kind of shows where if Freeport was online, where this would be. And Freeport is like a 2 BCF a day gas that did not get exported out, and so it stayed here and was put in the storage. And you can see then we'd be between the average and the minimum if that was the case. And that's with, of course, this incredible winter we've had, where if we had really a normal winter or slightly below, we'd be below that 5-year minimum probably. In that situation, just kind of shows a little different picture of the fundamentals there. Next, just want to go into showing the gas production. Again, we're kind of, hitting this, right at the level here where EIA is forecasted for the year. That's a year average, by the way. We are slightly ticking up there so far in April above that. Where's this production going to top out at? It's a big question. There's, and maybe I'll save it for topic for next month, but with associated gas, that's gas that's being, comes off of, extra gas when you're drilling for crude. Just natural gas gets, is part of the whole production part of that. Sometimes just flare it out because the price is so cheap. But, relatively speaking, with, oil prices higher, drilling's going in the crude oil for sure, OPEC issues going on, this associated gas could stay sticky here and stay kind of higher. This could trend up another one or two BCF here by the end of the year, but I don't really see it getting much past that. Again, it could be wrong. We could stay here. It's a very tricky situation because, of course, the dropout in, decline in production after the first year of the well. And then, LNG. There's no new LNG here in 2023. When Freeport come back line, that's it. We're at this, relatively speaking, around just under 14 BCF, but, so no new terminals here in 2023, but these are getting built out. These aren't just plans and dreams and hopes. these are being built out. These will be ready right at the beginning of 2024. We're going to have in that year and a half period about 6 more BCF a day coming online. And that's why you're seeing kind of a reflection of that in the price curves, which will show here in a few minutes. It's a new chart here I'm going to show you guys. Here's the year-over-year daily power burn demand. This is literally the last 6 weeks. And this is weather adjusted. Say if weather was normalized, and you can see the power burns higher. In fact, on average, it's just about 4 BCF a day higher. This is eye-opening to me when I started researching this and looking into this. This is quite eye-opening. Power burns up, but then again, it's not a surprise. Gas is much lower, and when gas is lower, it's going to shift to, the generators are going to shift running the gas plants over, say, a coal plant, even sometimes nuclear. So you're seeing that taking place. This chart here, this is just, again, the price curves. The blue line is kind of the looking out through to December 27 of where natural gas is at, and power will be pretty much reflective, as you can see in that in the beginning chart to show where the price curves are at coming forward. It's of course the seasonal peaks here of this the winter periods, and kind of definitely here's where the LNG starts coming in at in January 2024. And it comes over this time. That's why you're seeing this up here, because they know there's going to be an increase in demand in that period. Oh, and sorry, one more thing on this chart here. The orange line is kind of where we expect in the next 12 months within a high probability forecast of where these individual months could fall into and where they could go. The green is about the lower end of that. So it's kind of a range. We expect a tight range for pretty much this whole curve, barring some major issue. I mean, like Freeport going down, or some LNG plant, big LNG plant going down again, other geopolitical issues, all those things. But if everything just weather, all that, if everything's just kind of normal, hunky-dory, no real changes, we expect this is kind of the range. And really, I expect this to be even tighter here, probably tighter down here, tighter up here. Generally speaking, 50 to 75 cent range. Yeah, still very volatile. It's still a very volatile commodity. Here's monthly index prices, and this is a new chart we're showing here this month, and this kind of just shows where the LMPs and index prices have come in at. The gray line is where gas cleared out for the month, and the the light green line is PJM West Hub, and that's where the around the clock. And you see they've definitely been falling down. Power price over here, gas prices are on the right, power prices are on the left. And again, these charts are available if you need to take a longer look at this. It's quite interesting though, as you can see. One thing that is just want to note, in February of 21, I left off ERCOT North because this chart, you'd hardly be able to tell the difference because we cleared at $1,300, as we all call, in Winter Storm Uri. But I just left it off so we can scale this chart properly. As you can see, though, these LMPs go higher when the gas price is higher and they come lower. That's really not that's a no-brainer right there. That's pretty much a given. And that's it, really. Strategies here again: be disciplined. Consumers are not, taking a long position; they're covering a short position. We can't stress this enough. If you expect to be in business for the next 5 years and you have no position on, start developing a strategy right now to fill that, because you don't want to. The easiest way to guarantee yourself that you won't be buying at the top of the market is to have a strategy and be buying in some sort of hedges or set some sorts of strike prices, and not just waiting until the last minute or some random date to just start buying energy. Or being in a panic situation for that matter, because prices are getting out of control. Set a strike price, increase chance to participate in a market dip, and just hedge something again. Take advantage of drops by hedging partial potential load and remainder later. Again, that's kind of limited to be able to do percentage hedges to customers really over 500 kW demand, or let's say 2 million kWh a year. But that's that. And finally, noteworthy items. New York. There is a broker brokers need to post a bond. We have that. You go through us, no problem. And there's a fee disclosure on the contracts with suppliers. We are getting more information on this. In fact, there's a call going on right now. We have a member of my team on that call, and we'll have more details in an email that is to be coming out, hopefully even by the end of the day today. Definitely this week will be going out. And Connecticut, a recent law really sent the broker industry in quite a scramble because in a way of how the relationship with suppliers and agent brokers work, and now there's aggregators, and we're working with kind of suppliers and the state on a solution, and we'll figure this out. But for right now, there's some suppliers that aren't even pricing in this area right now for agents and brokers. And hopefully this will all be worked out, and even the state realizes their mistake and fixes it. We'll see. But that's it for this month. Thanks a lot. We'll be sending out this PDF. I think the PDF is somewhere in the GoToWebinar stuff there. But if not, we're also going to be sending out the PDF of this after the call. Appreciate it, guys. We'll talk about it in a little bit. And here's Allie.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Really excited about this one. Like I said at the beginning, we've got some really good market info and doing some deep dives in terms of what exactly is going on in the market, what factors are influencing pricing movement nationwide. It's all really, really good info. And right now we're going to take a step back to better put that information in context. We're going to do a little commercial energy and energy sales 101. This is a very highly requested topic, so looking forward to reviewing this. And if you guys have questions, we have a little extra time here at the end, so be sure to submit those. We'll definitely take a look. So overview for all of us in commercial energy or in deregulated energy is just a review of exactly what deregulated means. We have two market structures. On this slide, we have regulated, where we have the power plants, the local utility, and customers as the only parties that are relevant to those regulated markets. Power plants produce all of the energy, the local utility distributes it, and the customers receive it and pay for it. Customers don't have any option in terms of the way that they receive their energy. They don't have any control over their cost. The local utility and the power plants are basically, they go hand in hand, and power plants sell to the utility sells it to the customers. Customers don't have any options there, and they are really referred to as ratepayers when it comes to the local utility. Now, one note on regulated markets before we get into deregulated markets is that these customers, while they don't have any choice when it comes to their energy supplier, they may have some choice whenever it comes to energy efficiency, monitoring their energy usage. There is still some value that we are able to bring these customers, but we do want to start in our deregulated sphere. Always best to start with our bread and butter, which is helping customers manage their energy supply costs, helping to better structure a product so that they have whatever is important to them, whether that's optimal cost or budgetary certainty or something in between those two. Under a deregulated market structure, we're able to develop those strategies hand in hand with our customers because we have the ability to choose an energy supplier. Those energy suppliers, as you'll see in that deregulated structure, that second bar, are going to buy power from the wholesale market via power plants. They're going to package it up differently depending on what product it is, what size customer it is, where the customer is located, any other number of requirements, how much is required to be green energy, for example. Lots of different factors that go into the different ways that products are packaged, and they are going to sell those products to customers. So customers then have choices aside from just paying whatever the utility tells them to pay. And that's assuming that they have an option. Local utilities will always deliver your energy. Utility infrastructure is regulated because if a power line goes down, we need to have one person who is accountable for fixing it. But utilities but you have the option to choose your energy supplier. Those electrons can come really from anywhere, and it's really more of a cost control mechanism than it is actually physically distributing specific electrons to you. So your local utility makes sure that the grid stays up, that whenever you turn on the lights, your power comes on, your energy supplier will be able to help you control how much that energy costs. Going into our key players in the market, we talked about each of these just a little bit on our slide before, but we're introducing a couple more. So to review, your process will start and end with your customer. This is your end user. This is the person who is responsible for paying the natural gas or electricity bill. We have customers and serve customers of all different shapes and sizes. So from mom and pop shops to strip malls to real estate and commercial real estate, all the way up through manufacturing, industrial, public space buildings like government entities, etc. Every single one of these people has an electricity bill, and so they are all good potential customers for us. If they have a commercial energy meter, big or small, we've got an option for them and across any deregulated market. Brokers are our customers here at Box. Brokers are responsible for forming their relationships with customers and guiding them through the energy procurement process and energy supply process. They can help educate the customer about what is influencing their price, how this customer can save money, what options do they have available to them, which products might be beneficial depending on the customer's risk tolerance and priorities. The broker is somebody who can be a subject matter expert and can sit on the customer side of the table, helping them to manage this cost and basically take this potentially very expensive and always necessary line item away from all of the other things that a business owner has to worry about on their day-to-day. Your supplier, like we talked about, is an entity that provides electric supply to a retailer and use customer. Suppliers are also known as ESCOs, or electricity service companies, REPs, REPs, retail electric providers. So here those names tossed around too. Again, your supplier is packaging your energy. They're taking wholesale energy from the market, taking a financial position in order to deliver a certain type of product to their customer. That's a cost structure that works and performs well for their customer. The utility is, like we talked about, the regulated entity responsible for maintaining the physical infrastructure, your poles and wires, transporting and distributing energy from the generator to the end user. There's a couple different steps in that when it comes to transmission, whether it's long distance transmission or short, and distribution where energy is distributed from the local hub to the actual end user. But all of that falls under utility, the utility player. Those are, like we talked about, those are always going to be regulated players, and your transmission and distribution side of the bill is regulated accordingly. We then have our regulators. So we talked a little bit about them, but not specifically, just tangentially. So our regulators are those entities that are responsible for supervising the market. These are the guys who are looking at generators. We're looking at wholesale entities and everybody selling into the market. And we're also looking at making demand forecasts, looking at, okay, are we going to have enough supply to balance demand? Are we going to have enough of it if we have, everybody turning on all at once? What is our generation capacity? Can we go and serve it? We also have these entities that are looking at mergers and acquisitions, that are examining the ways that suppliers market and serve their customers, making sure that customer protection laws are front and center, making sure that if there ever is disputes, disagreements between utilities, our regulated entities, and our supplier entities, that there is somebody mediating that and deciding what goes where and what the rules should be. So your regulators are also very important. Like Scott was just talking about, we've had some really interesting regulatory developments in New York and some other states just recently that will absolutely impact customers. They will impact brokers and the way that we do business. They will impact every supplier that serves a customer in that market. So these are also very important key players. What changes your energy price? What affects energy costs? Scott just went into this in a deep level, but really super 10,000 foot high level. What affects energy costs? It's going to be your economic fundamentals, supply and most notably demand, weather, whether the weather be cold or whether the weather be hot, your weather will influence your energy costs, mainly because the amount of energy consumed to keep a space heated or air conditioned, depending. Your capacity will also influence those costs. So capacity refers to how much energy is available at any given moment in any given area. If we have a place, we see this a lot in New England, for example, just because the infrastructure there is very constrained geographically. There's just something in power lines and generation capacity in New England is going to look very fundamentally different than it is in Texas. Texas, we've got all the room in the world to build out infrastructure and to grow, to plug in green energy sources, where up in New England, a lot of that infrastructure is already built. And you've either got to build on top of it, you've got to maintain it, you've got to enhance it. And so those are just very different conversations. We see capacity issues a lot in New England because of that limited infrastructure. And those issues, whenever you see demand spike and there isn't enough capacity to get energy where it needs to go, that's when you start price spikes as well. And like we talked about, regulatory. Your regulators can absolutely make a change that influences pricing. They can move components from one side of the bill to another. They can come up with different laws just to make sure that there is energy available for everybody, that whenever you turn on that light switch, that the lights come on. That's their job, and figuring out who exactly is going to pay for it and when. Making sure that everybody understands the part that they're playing. All of those things fall under your regulatory changes, and they can affect costs as well, very much. Going into just, again, very basic units of measure. Electricity is measured usually in kilowatt hours. You will also see volumes in megawatt hours. 1,000 kilowatt hours equals a megawatt hour. Pricing is expressed in cents per kilowatt hours or dollars per megawatt hour. For example, 8.942 cents per kilowatt hour or $89.42 per megawatt hour. On the gas side, we have a smaller conversion factor, but we do still have a few different units of measure here. You'll see natural gas measured in therms or BCF, depending on the market. Usually it's therms. You'll also see volumes in decatherms or DTH. 10 therms equals 1 decatherm, so that's your conversion factor there. Pricing is expressed in cents per therm or dollars per decatherm. For example, 49 cents and change per therm or $4.90 per decatherm. Going into our anatomy of a utility bill, and this will start to get into best practices for those of you who tuned in for those introductory questions for those items. Hang in there, I promise. Anatomy of a utility bill breaks into 3 parts. This goes back into what is a regulated and what is a deregulated structure. We have our supply, which covers costs associated with generating energy. We have our delivery, which covers the delivery costs, physical infrastructure, any costs associated with the transmission and distribution of power, getting that power from the generator wherever it needs to go. That's going to be your delivery portion. Again, that part is regulated. And then you've got taxes. Those costs are going to vary by state. They can be added to supply side, delivery side, or to both sides of the bill and apply equally. Of these 3 components, the part that we focus on in our industry with retail energy is your supply portion. We do get into some of those delivery costs whenever we start looking at energy efficiency, whenever we start looking at curtailment strategies, whenever we start looking at full building envelopes. We are able to influence those costs. The difference is that you can't switch who delivers your energy. And so in that sense, those costs are quite fixed. Your energy supply, if you are in a deregulated market, you are able to switch and you can have a little bit more control over what you're paying depending upon the options and your priorities. Getting into some products, like I was talking about, our energy suppliers will procure wholesale prices from the market, and they will arrange them into different products so that they're able to serve customers depending on that customer's priority. So fixed and fixed adder pricing. With these pricing structures, the customer must contract with a supplier. Utility prices are often, can be very competitive. I know prior to last year and the last 6 months, whenever energy conditions have really caught up with the market, with the utility marketplace, we were in a place where utility default rates were pretty low and were pretty steady. With the changes that we have had with the war in Ukraine and with all of the that Scott has talked about that influence all of that pricing, we start to see utility prices be much more volatile, in line with what's happening in wholesale markets as well. So in these scenarios, utility prices may be competitive, but that utility price is going to change day for day. And that's the same thing that you live in, not Texas, where you have a default utility service provider. On fully fixed or all-in products, pricing will not go up even if market costs rise. So your customer gets protected. This is the best choice for most small and medium business customers. It's not worth it to take on the risk that you would either staying on the utility or going on to some sort of market or variable rate, which truly utility rates are market and variable rates. Customers who are able to fix their electricity costs can budget more easily, and monthly bills become more predictable. Even if they have to pay $10, $20 a month for a premium to fix their bill, that is so much better than getting surprised and hit over the head the way that New England did this last year and the way that Texas did whenever Storm Uri came through. So these are that's the type of value that you as a broker can talk with your customer about, the ways that you can help them. Market and variable rate customers on a market rate, they could be with their supplier, or like we talked about, could be with their local utility and on their default generation service. Those customers are not under any contract usually, even if they have contracted a market or a variable rate and they're being served by a supplier. If it's a variable rate, then the supplier is basically passing everything through to the customer at their cost to serve them, plus a markup generally. And those customers don't have any obligation to reimburse the supplier for a contract. So customers can leave, they can go back to the utility, they can find a better supplier option, they can recontract with the same supplier and just under a different product that better serves them. So those customers have lots of options available. Each month, the supplier utility will charge them a different market-based rate. Like I said, everything basically gets passed through to customers. So your customers and prospects, everybody gets a utility bill. Everybody is paying one of these types of products, one of these types of rate structures. And identifying which is going to be really the first step in terms of being able to help your customer and offer them some options. Now,
Allie, I'm going to step in here real quick. Yeah, I just want to clarify something on the fixed and fixed adder pricing. In the contract price won't change. It's fixed. The contract price doesn't change, but it is open to adjustments as you just discussed about the regulatory changes. If there's regulatory changes during the contract period or after the contract signed, for instance, if transmission costs go up, if there's adjustments in capacity because we don't know all the auction periods, if there's ancillary charges skyrocket, these are what I call unhedgeable stuff by the supplier, and they'll often make adjustments. Pretty much all suppliers have in their contract today, they have the right to make adjustments. Some do, some don't, especially if it's the small stuff they don't, but the bigger stuff they really will, because no one's in business to lose money. It's a protection for them. And so with that, part of what we do for our customers here is we will look. If you have any questions and want to make sure the adjustment is right, we'll take a look at it for you and make sure it's right. But also, there's times where, because that's the thing with the contracts, right? I mean, it can go up, but also these things can go down. And of course, don't make those adjustments, they go up. When they come down, they're not so quick to necessarily say, hey. So, we'll take a look at those too and try to get those to agree to if it's in the contracts. This is kind of services we provide here. But go ahead, Ali. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, that's a great point. Most of these, generally, when we're talking about, are the general rule for fixed pricing, fixed adders, for those types of things. Mm-hmm. That said, there are always situations, caveats that go along with it, and every single market is different. States are deregulated at the state level, so every state is a little bit different in terms of the cost components that they require to be included, the ways that they come up with those costs and calculate those costs. And markets function differently depending on the regulator, depending on the local infrastructure, depending on how many suppliers are willing to participate in that market, if any. So this is really highly specialized work. There's a lot to learn, and it's okay to not have all the answers. People like myself who for a long time are still learning, and it's still okay. We still lean on our supplier partners. We still, like Scott said, we still hop on calls to listen to these regulatory updates and to try so that we are so that we can help our customers. So it's okay to not have all the answers. This is very detailed work. There's a lot to learn, especially if you're serving all customer types. So
I've learned something new every day still, Ali. I've been in this industry for 20-some years. I'm still learning something new every day. And that's the beauty of it. It's kind of fun that way. So things are constantly changing and keep learning. So
never boring.
Yeah, exactly. Never boring.
So right now we'll go into our sales cycle. And I want to just take a step back and just really nail down a couple best practices here. So remember that as an energy broker, your job is to help your customer. If you're not able to help your customer and all we're doing is selling customers a higher rate, then maybe that customer goes away because they figure out, well, hey, this person signed me up, but I don't understand the benefit. I'm having some problems and I'm not sure who can help me. All of those types of things are things that a broker can help a customer, where a broker can help a customer. This work can be time consuming. And like I said, it's all very detailed. So remember that your job is to help your customer. And that the whole reason why we're able to help customers is because we can help educate them, because we can know some of these options. And so really, truly, the first step here is just education and being naturally curious and helpful. The first step in our sales cycle that we have on here is our document collection. And I cannot overstate how important a step this is if you're really looking to help your customer. The first step to helping any customer is to understand their pain points. And that's really that's a sales 101 thing, and it's just as applicable here as it is in any other industry. You want to understand how many meters that customer has. How is the customer using their energy? How many buildings do they have? Of those buildings, how many do we have a mix of meters where we have some smaller meters and one larger common space meter? Maybe we have some lighting meters, or do we have one master meter that accounts for several sub-meters? It depends on the state and infrastructure with the local utility. So the more thorough you can be with this document collection, with this information collection, the better. Those documents are going to be your utility invoices, which are going to be useful for a number of items. Those utility invoices will have account numbers, service ID numbers, all of the information that you need to actually specify which electric accounts we're talking about. And then they will also have information about how much those accounts are using, when the meter reads are, where that meter may be located, what that customer is paying, if that customer is already with an electricity supplier or if they're supplied through the local utility. If they're with a utility supplier, are they on contract? Are they off contract? Is there an immediate need, or is this something that we, where we have a year's worth of time to look and see and make, and get a plan together and really put together a thorough strategy. how much damage control do we have to do if they, if they haven't looked at this, in a while or ever. So those utility invoices are very important. You can also see if and when a supplier is customer is paying their bill, making sure all sorts of different things, if they're credit worthy, if they're falling behind, those types of things that can also be relevant during our process here. Other documents that you may want to collect are a signed LOA. That is a signed letter of authorization that basically just authorizes you to receive usage data, authorizes Box to receive usage data, and authorizes our partner suppliers to receive usage data. This is really important because the usage data is what drives price in any given market. We may have matrix rates available for that customer, but to confirm the size and creditworthiness of that customer, that they can actually qualify for that matrix rack rate, that's rate ready and ready to go, ready to get signed, you have to qualify them, and you have to do that using the utility invoice. Getting an LOA is also helpful because if for whatever reason you then need to go get custom pricing. I know we've had some of our past webinars about the differences between matrix and custom pricing. Matrix prices are ready to go, ready to be contracted that day. Custom prices are when you pull utility data using a letter of authorization and get the usage profile from the utility specifically for that customer. Your LOA is going to be very important. Some matrix contracts have LOAs on the back of them. It's to deal with those customer protection laws, which, like we talked about, differ per utility, per market. So really important to show that you have the customer's consent, the customer is aware that you're requesting this data, and that the customer is expecting to see pricing from you. Step number 2 is our pricing and proposal step. So based on the customer size, we can provide either matrix rates or custom pricing. Matrix rates are usually for customers that are on the small, medium business side. That's defined industry-wide, usually as 1 million kilowatt hours or under. Anybody under that, especially if that usage is split across multiple meters, they're classified as a small and medium business customer. Matrix pricing is available in most deregulated markets, choice markets, for small and medium customers, where the supplier has put together a price that is based on what they think it's going to cost to serve certain customers in the market, and they've put it out there and it's ready to contract. Or you may have to get custom pricing. Anybody 1 million kilowatt hours or larger, usually anybody 1 million therms or over, so that also depends on market, will need to be custom priced. And again, that process is just a little bit different. You would submit a utility LOA, our suppliers would receive usage and put together a custom price or product specifically based on that customer's usage profile, rather than using an approximation like a matrix price. We also provide background on all of our bidding supplier partners, information on current market and pricing trends, and savings analyses, if applicable, during this stage. What we prefer to do is present the customer with, yes, pricing, but also with a couple different product options. We want to be able to provide them with a proposal that shows them, this is what you're doing, these are the options available to you, and this is the way that we would recommend you move forward. The better informed that analysis, the better informed that process through that document collection and through our market intelligence, the better that proposal is going to be, the more valuable it's going to be to that customer. And as Scott was saying, through our strategic services division, both Scott and I, we're happy to be part of your team. If you're needing that market intelligence, if you're needing more supplier options, if you're wanting to look at a different type of product that could potentially serve the customer a little bit better, that's really what we're here for. And again, maintaining a helpful attitude and just natural curiosity about, okay, well, what is this customer? What are they doing? How have they managed this in the past? Have they dealt with a supplier before? Maybe not. If they have, did they like it, or did they have a terrible experience? Did they have some billing issues? What are this customer's pain points? and how can I help them? Is this customer looking for budgetary certainty, or are they looking for some savings? All of those questions, every single customer is going to be unique. And so that's really the conversation that you want to have about all of this. The more information that you get, usually if you listen and you take its notes, a customer will tell you exactly what they're looking for. And then it's your job to go out to the marketplace, get it, and deliver it back to them in a way that is understandable, beneficial, and where they really understand what changes we're recommending that they make, when they're going to happen, and how things could look moving forward. Once we're all on the same page and we have an idea of our product, our supplier, our term, we've got a plan in place, then it's time for contract execution. Documents can be executed via DocuSign, which is preferred, or sent to the customer for physical signature. Those documents can be very detailed, and oftentimes they're very long. So the point that I wanted to make on our contract execution step here is that another part of our strategic services is contract term negotiation. Contracts are always written by energy suppliers, by the energy supplier that is going to be providing the energy, providing the price. And those contracts are thusly written to benefit suppliers if ever conflicts arise. So part of our value here at Box, and then part of the value that you as a Box broker can bring is expert contract negotiation. That comes to whether the customer decides to use more, use less, if there are any regulations that take effect that could influence the customer's price, making sure that the contract itself is going to perform the way that we want to, and potentially benefit the customer, not just the energy supplier. That's a part of this process too. Then submission and confirmation. Box's quality control reviews the contract. We send it to the energy supplier. The supplier will accept or reject the agreement and confirm that everything's good. The supplier basically has to accept the agreement and confirm that yes, we will enroll this customer, these meters for this date, for this price on this product. So we want to confirm all those details on the back end. We do have some additional follow-ups, additional quality control checks. We do go back and check and make sure that everybody gets enrolled, that everybody's paying what they signed up for. And we're also able to help if and when there are issues on that side. So just because we're post-transaction doesn't mean that our helpfulness and that our value goes away. We're just as happy to talk to a customer that is mid-contract as one who is completely out of contract. And really, as Scott has been saying during our market segment, the best way to help a customer is to help them develop a plan. If your customer is completely underwater, they do not have a plan, they're subject to the whims of the market, let's put something in place absolutely ASAP. If the customer is under contract for the next year, 2, maybe even 3, that's the time to start talking to them and seeing where they can improve their process. Yes, they're with an energy supplier, but what product are they on? Is that, and is that the best product for them? Is there room to improve in terms of customer service or a better structure for them? Just depending on where that customer is, that's a good time to start having a conversation too. You'll definitely have some opportunities that are a little bit further out, and the best way to help your customers manage that cost is to be aware, to have a plan and be able to look further down the road so that you're not surprised whenever markets do move. So that's our segment on our Energy 101 and our sales cycle. I'd
like to add to that, Allie, to the point you're making there. And that is, I think what's important is understanding that the difference between a broker and a consultant. And nothing wrong with with either one of them, there's a place for each one, and especially for your customers that are your mid to large size. Let's say the ones that are over like 1 million kWh. Those are the ones you really want to develop good relationships with and keep. And I think it's important to come with that more consultative mindset and ahead of you, and that's like by delivering ideas and strategies and solutions and these other things, and not just like, hey, I'm going to go cut you a price 2 months before your contract comes due every time. I'll call you up in 3 years again when that price comes due. I'm going to go get it. Now you're not really delivering value. All you are is just someone that can go retrieve prices. And the customer in their eyes, and it's like, yeah, that, like, Allie, yeah, you just keep delivering prices to me I can find another person to deliver prices to, making period of that other person delivering prices. And now you're just turning this compare thing, and you're just another shopping place for that person to compare to another place. It's kind of like, hey, if I'm going to go look for those new shoes, those new mountain biking shoes I need, I'm going to go look on a couple different sites for them. I don't have to go to one place, right? But if it was somebody who was like servicing me on that all along, I might, just always want to give that guy business because he really works for me. He's really trying to help me out, and I know he has my best interest. So it's really what it's like. So the best way to not be a shopping site, the best way to then get that renewal and to keep the customer is to develop a relationship with them. And the way to develop a relationship and build trust is by keep delivering information and value to him that's useful for him. So, and that's a consultant.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. And really, I think that's what drives, I think, a lot of our industry forward. It's just that natural curiosity of, how can I help? What is this customer doing? The flip side of getting, all of those documents is being able to, do some Googling, put some, or talk to Box, put some context together and help your customer make sense of what's happening and what options are available. Mm-hmm. Providing that context and being able to be a subject matter expert for your customer to help them make sense of what options they have and make sense of your recommendation is night and day difference between just a document with rates on it.
Yeah,
I promise.
Definitely. And that leads to actually our questions here, Allie, and I'll let you answer this one. The first one is really what question for you guys is, what questions do I ask the customer? Like, what if I'm in a meeting, what kind of questions should I be asking them?
Absolutely. So good questions to start are basically asking the customer how, when was the last time they looked at their electricity bill? Is this something that, is this something that they review monthly, or is this something that maybe they've never looked at before? Is this something that where they have a designated internal resource that perhaps with and who has a little bit more information about the organization, or is really nobody looking at this? And regardless, who's responsible for paying the bill? Is this something, where the person is paying the room? Is this something where it's by the parent company that stays away? And who's responsible for making decisions? Does everything run through the CEO, or do we have a facility director who's responsible for making decisions at the facility level? All of those types of questions better help you get to know the organization, who they are, what they're currently doing, who is involved on their side, what does their process look like, what problems have they had. All of those questions are really good questions to start with, and it's just developing rapport and helping you understand what is it going to look like once I have pricing. What is important to them? How can I present them? How can I present their options to them in a way that's usable and helpful for them?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just asking questions too of like, how do you buy your energy? When's your contract due? Do you have a sustainability plan, a strategy? Would you like to have one? All these questions that come up to it, and and then you come back with pricing for them. Right. You get an LOE signed, all that stuff. That's great. And we have one more time for one more question. We're really great informative session here. And by the way, everybody, this will be on the YouTube channel at later on, so you can fast forward right through my market update and get right back and learn and continue a little more with Allie here. But yeah, it's coming on the YouTube channel shortly. But one more question here, and this is actually a really good one, and it's, the person want to know what is the difference between, a therm, a decatherm, but really more a decatherm and what the contract is on the MMBTU for natural gas on the exchange, and when we're showing the price of natural gas. And really, I mean, I think it's, real simple. A decatherm is really the same as a natural gas, what natural gas contract is, a million BTU. It is just slightly short. I think it's like 900, basically what's listed on the exchange is an MMBTU, it's a million BTUs, and the decatherm is equivalent to like 999,700 MMBTU. So it's just a teeny short of it, but we'll call it, it's all equal. It's all rounding error at that point. So yeah, it's a decatherm, and what's listed on the when you see NYMEX prices, that's the same. It's pretty much the same thing. So and that's it though, everybody. Thanks a lot. We look forward to seeing you next month. We'll have a topic out and a date out here shortly. Again, it's be going up on the YouTube channel. Allie, great job this month with that presentation. That's so informative. It's gonna be so helpful for everybody and all. We got a lot of new brokers out there on us. And just a reminder, we are here to serve you. Really, this is our passion. This is what we come in for every day. We love helping you guys out. And this is our team here, taking a picture last December. And what's amazing here, I see this, Allie, I think this has grown by another factor of 8 to 10 more people since this picture was taken in December. So we might have to, not just an annual picture, we have to do one semi-annually just to kind of keep it fresh. But yeah, we're growing here. And in fact, if you know anybody that's in the Dallas area or whatever, we need some people. Be good people, just let us know. But yeah, we're growing, and that's great to hear, great to see, and because we want to make sure we can serve you the best we can, so we put as many bodies in chairs here as we possibly can. So have a great month, everybody. Take care, be safe, have fun, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.